All right, let's get rolling. Up next, Brian McCullough talking about living in the gray area.
Thank you. I want to tell you about living in the gray area, and that involves a Cincinnati police officer shooting an unarmed 19-year-old, the federal deficit, and a 7,500-mile road trip that changed my life. First, let's start April 7th, 2001. Cincinnati police officer Steve Roach is patrolling over the Rhine. He hears a radio call that a guy named Timothy Thomas is on the run. He joins the chase. The cops know Timothy Thomas. He has 14 open warrants, almost all of them for things like no seatbelt, driving without a license. In the last 2 months, Thomas has been pulled over 11 times, 21 violations, virtually all of them the same thing. No seatbelt, no license. So Roach is chasing him. Thomas knows the cops as well as they know him, and he knows they're pissed. He's ignoring their warrants, 14 open warrants, and they're running after him. Sounds a little bit like a misdemeanor game of cat and mouse, doesn't it? Thomas turns into a dead-end alley. This dead-end alley. Roach comes around the corner, shoots him in the heart. Roach says he thought Thomas had a gun, was reaching for a gun. And later he says that his finger twitched on the trigger. After that, in this intense media scrutiny for a few days, there were, depending on who's describing, protests or riots downtown over the Rhine. This is the way that a website called Revolutionary Worker Online described it. A young black man in a poor black neighborhood where cops act like an occupying army. Does anybody wonder why he was running from the cops? And then there's a website called adversity.net, which talks about being for victims of reverse discrimination. It said, black looters, rioters, and thugs destroyed property and assaulted whites during days of racial terror. Look at the difference there. Cops as an occupying army from the Revolutionary Worker, black looters and thugs destroying property and assaulting whites from adversity.net. Now, I've used some very extreme examples here, commentary about this, and you can probably guess where I'm going. I believe that the middle, the gray area, the truth is the gray area where truth almost always resides. Isn't it possible, if we think about it, rather than taking those extreme sides, that both Thomas and Roach were wrong? Thomas lived in a community where 15 black men had been killed in police custody in the last 6 years. Roach, on the other hand, is chasing a guy who he knows has 14 open warrants. He doesn't know, given police technology at the time, what those warrants are for. Isn't it easy to imagine his adrenaline is running high? So what if we carefully look at different sides of the issue? Isn't it possible to see that they are both wrong, maybe both irresponsible, but also both taking actions that might be understandable? If we look in this day and age, I think we can see that there are no simple answers to complex problems. But maybe with the prevalence of the thousands of media outlets and information we have, maybe we're getting overwhelmed and maybe we're looking for simple answers. I want to talk a little bit also about the federal deficit as another example. When I hear that the options are raise taxes or cut spending, I automatically look to the middle. I don't think there are simple answers like that. So what's the deal about this road trip? In 2005, I had the chance to take a trip for 5.5 weeks around the country, spending a lot of time in the West, in the mountains. It's an area where logging is very, very important. People either seem to be clear cutters or tree huggers. The truth is in the middle. Most people seem to understand that this is an area that's very important to our livelihood, but it's also a precious resource we have to guard. So what if I try to commit to seeing both sides of an issue? What if I try to think at all times wonder what you're thinking about. What if I do a little objective investigation, apply a little tolerance, do a little critical thinking, a little walking in your shoes and listening to your side of the argument? That, I think, is a way that we can change the world. Doing all of those things, walking in each other's shoes, taking responsibility to look at all sides, and there are always more than two, of any kind of issue. Thanks.
It is kind of remarkable how little time we spend in our own heads. Seems like we're always thinking about what we're doing tomorrow, what we're doing in a little while. How many of you are really passionate about trash? Well, in 5 minutes, you'll be even more passionate about trash. Brooke?
Thank you. Chances are, if you live or work anywhere in Cincinnati, you've probably seen this more than a few times. And to me, I always kind of felt like litter was this elusive problem, but it wasn't really my problem. It was someone else's responsibility, and it was their mess to clean up. It wasn't until I started working for Keep Cincinnati Beautiful that I realized the only known solutions to litter rely on people like you and I to take responsibility of the problem. I found out that in Cincinnati, the city of Cincinnati spends about $2,000 per ton picking up trash, and that's using community service workers or free labor. The city only spends $95 a ton collecting trash that was properly thrown away in a trash can. To me, that is a staggering waste of our city's tax dollars. Litter stunts our economic growth, and there's a lot of direct costs, like I've shown you, but there's a lot of hidden costs associated with litter as well. Because businesses end up paying about 80% of total litter costs in the United States, many businesses are not going to locate their business to a city that is, or a community that is littered. In fact, 36% of business development officials agree with that. Equally as important, 93% of homeowners believe that a littered street will actually decrease your home's property value. So good luck if you're trying to sell a house and you live on a littered street. One of the first things to understanding why people, or one of the first solutions is to find out why people litter. A lot of people were like me, and they think that it's someone else's problem. Even worse, they think that they're providing a job, and actually some people really are just lazy. 85% of littering is a result of an individual's behavior. So we have to break that pattern and make it easy for people to just be good. We can start by leading by example, setting a good example. You may not think that you litter, but flicking a cigarette butt out of the car or tossing a banana peel out the window is still littering. And for some of us, it might mean that we bring a bag with us and pick up trash on our way into work. If you have fun with it and if you're obvious about it, I think that people really will respond to that. This is something that we did over the summer. And Chris, I'm really sorry if you're in here, but you're kind of a jerk. We wanted people to associate jerky behavior with littering, and as a result, now more people in Cincinnati are aware of their own behavior. You can also volunteer and clean up litter hotspots in your community. These might be business districts, they might be transition points, illegal dump sites, that sort of thing. We have an opportunity in late March, Cincinnati Beautiful does, the state roadway cleanup, where we're going to be cleaning the top 10 dirtiest highway exit and entrance ramps. And you never know what you might find, so you should come out. We also have the Great American Cleanup, which is in late April, and this is one of our biggest events. We have thousands of volunteers come from across the tri-state to clean up and improve their communities and plant flowers, and it's a great way to bring families together and get to know your neighbors and teach those kiddies how important community pride is. That's April 16th, and we'll have a whole list of community projects listed on our website. Another way that you can prevent litter is to beautify your community. There's going to be less litter in a clean environment, and unlike litter, beautification actually will increase investment and increase your property values. The last thing, and probably the best thing you can do, is just make it easy. Keep those trash cans empty, don't let them overflow, and provide ash receptacles for smokers and at places like bars and restaurants. So if I can leave you with one thing, and I finally am getting into the groove of this, and it's my last 2 slides, is that litter stunts our economic growth. And if we continue to tolerate, our economy is going to continue to suffer, and we're going to continue to pay for it. If we can all just adopt one of these solutions, I think that we can make a huge impact on our city's growth. I would love to talk to you about it more in person because I'm much better at that than this. This is my first speech, so thank you so much.
All right. She's right, you guys are fucking scary. Good God, look at you. All right, next up, Demetrius with a presentation so deep I couldn't figure out how to explain it. You're going to have to do it.
All right, nobody wants to be the ugly American, right? We're like travel. I'm a traveler. I'm not a tourist. I travel a lot. So I'm going to give you 19 tips that hopefully you can take away on how to be the best traveler you can be and not embarrass our people. All right, so who's got a passport and who's traveled? All right, and I don't mean just going from the east side of town to the west side of town. I mean like legitimate. Well, that's the first thing you have to do is get a freaking passport and be prepared to actually go somewhere. And the first place you might want to try, which is actually the easiest, is go to the UK. It's another country. They speak the same language, funny enough. Sounds a little different, but at least gives you sort of that, experience of going someplace different, and it's really easy. The problem is we don't have a direct flight to the UK anymore. You have to go through France. France is awesome. Charles de Gaulle is not. It's the worst airport. It's got great shopping, I'll kid you not, but allow 2 hours to make all your transfers because otherwise you're just going to miss your flight and then it's really, really awful. So, I'll leave you with that. Learn a language. It's really nice to be able to speak with people. It'll really enrich your experience. If you do nothing else, at least try to say thank you in their own language. It goes a long way. Not like the ugly American that just wants chocolate chip cookies. Dress sensibly, and I don't mean comfortably, but try to blend in, We're not just like an embarrassing people here. You can polish it up a little bit. Europeans know how to do it. We obviously don't so well, so let's learn a little something. Remember, take twice the cash and half the stuff. First off, you have no idea how your bags are going to arrive at your ultimate destination, so have fewer. And you're always going to buy stuff, lots of stuff. At least I'll buy lots of stuff. You can always buy more stuff when you get there. Rent apartments instead of hotels. This is a really great way to immerse yourself. You can rent a place for one night. Believe it or not, it'll cost less. You'll have a fridge, and you kind of feel like you live there, even if it's only for like a day. But you can tell people you live there. Take advantage of jet lag. When you go to Asia, day is night, night is day. I never would have seen the night market in Seoul that's only open from 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. if I didn't just roam the streets trying to get myself sleepy. So do that. Take advantage of work trips. That's the best. They're paying for most of it, right? Just like add a couple extra days, go see Machu Picchu. It's awesome. It's the best place you'll ever see. And they paid for it. They didn't know that, but they did. If you have friends that live in other places, go there because A, you don't know how long they're going to live there, and there's nothing better than going someplace where somebody knows that they're going to show you things that you wouldn't see other than, watching a dumb Rick Steves episode. So more staring, less talking. Really just take it in. And granted, this was Amsterdam, and chemicals might have fueled my staring a little bit longer. But, take in the sounds, observe stuff. You really get a lot out of that. Observe cultural protocol. Just because we do it in America doesn't mean it's right. So watch how people greet each other and how they eat. Like which side of the cheek you're supposed to kiss on, so you don't meet in the middle accidentally, because that's awkward. really don't drink the water. When they say don't drink the water, don't drink the water. This is Thailand. They cook the food on the boat. I'm not going to drink their tap water, but I will drink their beer. $1 for a pad thai and a beer, that's a really great deal. And it's safe. Get lost. You know, it's really cool to just roam around, not follow the rules you're supposed to. We ended up in a little sort of Buddhist monk area, which maybe they were just as shocked as we were, but certainly an experience for both of us. Walk until it hurts, really. I mean, you know, the Segway tours are like the dumbest thing I've ever seen. I'm sure they're fun to ride, but really try to roam every little back alley because you're going to see stuff that you probably wouldn't have, again, on the Dumb Rick Steves episode. Get out of your comfort zone. You know, this is like, there's nothing better than traveling someplace where you just don't blend in. No matter what you do, you don't blend in, you try weird stuff, you really get more out of it. Like eating weird food. Your weather will suck at some point. It's guaranteed that it's going to suck, whether it's like rainy or cold or something. But you know what? If it's raining in Spain, it's still Spain, right? It's better than being here. So some people say, oh, I'm going to travel, you know, when I'm older, when my kids are in school. Don't. You might be dead. You might never make it there. So travel now. It's not that hard. It's not that expensive. And if I leave you with one lasting thing, is never pass up a chance to pee. We have nice bathrooms in this country. It's not like that everywhere. And seriously, the second you leave that cafe where you paid $5 for a cappuccino, you're going to have to go. Then it's too late.
That's how it's done, ladies and gentlemen. All right, next up, Chuck Lorre. Talking about sustainable behavior. I'm going to wait a few seconds here. I'm going to make you start, like, right on your slide.
So I've been working with the city of Cincinnati to help them implement 3,000 tons of carbon reduction. Most of the excuses people have, nothing's in it for me. Well, you can get a 15-year tax abatement if you build a green home in the city, or up to 12 years if you build a business building. Recycling's a waste. Well, it's not a waste in Cincinnati because you get paid for recycling in Cincinnati. You can get coupons for Omaha steaks, depending on the weight of the trash that you put in those big green recycling bins that the city's just rolled out. And if you think it takes too much time, it doesn't take too much time. I recently moved my office. It's just called FreeCycle. And you give the stuff away. People come and take your desks, your shelves apart, and haul it away, and it doesn't take any time at all. Some people complain that they forget their bags at the grocery store. Well, you can buy this bra set. It has a little pocket, so you can put your bags in your bra. And they make a codpiece version for men. Some people say they like living with sharks. This little cartoon came from UK, but you do much better if you turn your thermostat back, you shut the drapes in your house, you put a blanket on your water heater, and you do better cooking. Some people say nobody gives a crap. Well, this is building value in Northside, and I bought a $1,100 toilet for $20. It was beautiful. But there they are, a bunch of crappers that nobody needed. Some people say it's too old. Well, this is the second oldest building in UC, and it's a LEED building, a green building. They renovated it. It's the administrative headquarters for UC. And that building right next to it is also a green building, the Teachers College. Some people say green's ugly. Well, the green's not ugly. Look, and here's all these beautiful homes by Potter Hill Homes. You wouldn't tell the difference, whether it's the Craftsman style or your little bungalow. Whatever you want, it can be green. Some people say that they can't find the grants and free money. Well, it's desire.com, not DESIRE.com when you go to the website. So you get the right website. Now, some people complain that there's bed bugs on the bus. I could get bed bugs on the bus. Well, you can get bed bugs in the taxi, you can get bed bugs in the airplane, you can get bed bugs everywhere. So you just have to be careful. Some people say, but I drive an SUV. I drive an SUV. Before I got religion, in 2002, I had an SUV, but now I buy TerraPath for $100 a year. I buy carbon offset for my SUV until I get a Prius. Some people complain it's no fun to save water. Well, this is the commode in my office. We put a little hand washing station over the water closet, and we have our little play with our little rubber duckies as we wash our hands. Some people say that CFL bulbs are deadly. They have mercury in them. Well, they have very little mercury in them. But if you do break one, don't sweep it up. Leave the room for 10 or 15 minutes, and then come back and sweep it up. Some people say, well, you can save a lot of gas if you inflate the tires in your vehicle to the right air pressure. So don't be a low rider, or it'll come off the rims. So this is my next vehicle. I want to ride a bike, but my suit gets wet. So here's a completely enclosed, human-powered electric cycle. It gets 2,000 miles a gallon. And 2,000. Electrothons get 2,000 miles a gallon. This is my house. I have some thermal imaging pictures taken of it. I spent 2 years sealing it up, and I got a passing grade on my blower door test. So it's the best money you could spend. And you've seen this slide before, but it represents the $30 I pay a year to buy green electricity for my office. That's all it takes is 0.017%. It just costs that little. People say it's no fun to carpool. Some people put mannequins in their car so they can drive in the carpool lane. Well, here in Cincinnati, let's try to make it fun in carpools. Some people say they'll look at my underwear. That's why I'm not going to dry my clothes out in the yard. That's one of the most wasteful energy things you could do. Well, I think I'm just going to supply them with towels that says, "Honk if you want to see my underwear." At least you'll know who's looking. And just to leave it, the definition of sustainability is to leave the planet so that the next generation has it as good as you do, so leave it better than you do.
Laundry that has dried outside smells better. It's just like food that was cooked outside tastes better. Just saying. All right, next up, another really cool Cincinnati kind of deal. Everybody knows about the subway, right? I didn't know about the subway. This is a lot of people know about the subway. I think there's parallels with the current streetcar nonsense, which I support. Jake.
Thanks a lot. There it is. There's the subway. Now, most of what you see on this diagram right here was actually built. And the surface sections were bulldozed for I-75 in the Norwood Lateral. And then the tunnel that still remains downtown is obviously still there. And there's really nothing in our city's history where there are more ridiculous rumors surrounding it than this old tunnel. Well, where did these rumors come from? Did they come from teenagers or pranksters or something like that? The rumors actually came from the politicians who killed the project. And why did they kill the project? To embarrass the previous administration. So there's Cincinnati in the 1920s while the thing was being built. Okay, here comes the picture of it getting built. There it is. Now, the tunnel itself was built for rapid transit trains, just like you've seen in New York and all those other places. It was also built for passenger trains and freight trains, which are bigger than our rapid transit trains. Now, the guys who were in control when the thing was built, there he is, Boss Cox on the left and Rudolf Heinecke on the right. These guys are dead, obviously. And the guy that replaced them, Murray Seasongood, who's coming up now in 1 second, there he is. Murray Seasongood went to Harvard. He was an educated man. They kicked out the machine, which was a bunch of gamblers and all those kind of guys. Well, he actually used the exact techniques that they used against them. And he is the man who's responsible for killing the subway. Here's how it looks when he was in office. So you can see it's done underneath Central Parkway. It still had to be finished into the downtown area. He stopped the extension of the tunnel from happening, and the thing has never been used. All right, what's my next slide here? So what did he do? He inserted all this doubt into the local media. He made up all these lies which were printed in all these different articles. Now, I got one. Not only is the tunnel built extravagantly, but the part already built is inefficient and inadequately designed. So how can something both be extravagant and inadequate? Well, when you went to law school, that kind of stuff makes sense. And he used He used, and what did he use to actually kill this thing? There's Harvard subway station, by the way. He killed this thing with a folksy anti-intellectualism. So he went to the top university in the country, but he was acting, anti-intellectual, which is something that seems to plague Cincinnati to this day. Speaking of dead people, all right, that's my joke. Sorry about that. So why was O.J. acquitted? He was acquitted because of folksiness, not DNA evidence. Now here is Murray Seasongood's stuff that's in the libraries. So if you research the subway, you will find stuff that Murray Seasongood wrote, which positions him as the guy, as the person who was in the right the entire time, and the machine was always the villain. Part of the way they destroyed this effort was by saying, oh, the streetcar tracks are broad gauge, and then the subway is standard gauge, and somehow that was some sort of problem. So they inserted all this doubt into the public's mind. Now here is a Cincinnati streetcar that's in San Francisco now. By the way, pay attention to that bridge in the background. We're going to talk about that in a second. But this was a former broad gauge streetcar in Cincinnati, and now it's a standard gauge streetcar in San Francisco. It's amazing how they can cut down the axle, put the wheel back on, and then it works, right? But here's the Bay Bridge in San Francisco, which used to run trains across it. A lot of people don't know that. If you look really closely, you can see third rail electric and overhead electric. So they were able to run different kinds of trains that drew the electricity from different sources on the same bridge. Here you actually see three different railroads approaching the Bay Bridge, and this is on the Oakland side. And somehow they were able to make it work in San Francisco. In Cincinnati, it couldn't work, right? So you just insert that doubt in people's mind, and everybody seemed to believe it. Gentleman in the bathroom tonight said, I told him I was giving this talk. He said, oh, the curves were too tight. Well, there's that curve right there that they always said was too tight. Now, it was designed for freight trains and passenger trains. It was no issue whatsoever. They just said it was. They said we were out of money. Here's Cincinnati and its peer cities in the 1930s with the amount of debt that we had. We were actually the best. We were in the least debt of any city in the United States, despite the fact we were already paying off the subway bonds. I think I got one more. Oh, no. Here's the water main. Then they say, they put a water main in the 1950s, and now they say, oh, we can't use the subway because there's a water main. Well, the fact is that the city's agreement with the waterworks is such that the waterworks has to remove it if the city chooses to use it for rapid transit purposes. Here are the surface stations being demolished in the 1950s for I-75 and Norwood Lateral. This is my last slide. I'm going to be on Channel 12 Newsmakers this Sunday, so tune in. That's my little prologue.
Now, there's a man who's turned his hobby into something pretty awesome. He's got a book coming out about the Cincinnati subway. You should check it out. Where's Jenny? Jenny. You're not next. Jenny's next. Come on, Jenny. Let's go. Jenny's got a really cool website project going on trying to fix our situation, and she's going to explain it.
All right. I don't feel like driving to the Dayton airport anymore. Whenever I try to book a flight, I always find a better deal out of Dayton. And I want to use CVG, but it's basically just not working out for me. In December, a group of my friends, we all found a fare to Europe, but it was, of course, out of Dayton. So in order to make it work, we got our parents to drive us up in this car, and we actually had to add a trailer on the back of the car to drive us up there. It was that complicated. Or I've experienced a friend saying, hey, I found this great deal out of Dayton. Oh, by the way, it's at some ungodly hour, like 6 a.m., so we have to basically, get in the car and leave by 4 a.m. So I enjoy my life on that. I don't know if you're driving up to Dayton sometimes, and you see this billboard that says, think CBG first. And I usually say sarcastically to myself in an English accent for some reason, I thought CBG first, then I just continued on living my life and saving money. Now, Delta and CVG have had a long relationship, and it was pretty fruitful until 2005. It created jobs, and it catered to the business traveler, but the leisure traveler like myself had to pay up or drive to Dayton. And over the last couple years, CVG has started to shrink tremendously due to 9/11, high fuel costs, and then 2005, the bankruptcy, Delta filed for bankruptcy. In 2008, they merged with Northwest. And so this is not a game of Tetris. This is the current airport right now. As you notice, 2 out of the 5 concourses are occupied. That means 3 out of the 5 are empty. And it's really starting to look like something out of the Langoliers, a Stephen King novel. But the reality of this is actually really frightening. If nothing changes soon, this is going to impact the rest of our lives basically as business travelers and then leisure travelers like myself. What's unique about Cincinnati is that we have 5 major airports within a close proximity that are basically stealing our business. And that is making CVG losing all their flights, basically. So what is going to change our airport? Who's changing this? Everybody's asking that question. And basically, what are we doing as a community to change this? Because it's really a big deal. It's bigger than the Bengal Stadium, and it's just as big as the streetcar, honestly. Right now in the Kentucky State Senate, they're trying to pass a bill that will allow CVG to be able to basically create separate operating units that will handle ticket and baggage handling for basically low-cost carriers coming in. And so this will save them money, and if this passes, this will allow Terminals 1 and 2 to be utilized immediately if we can get these low-cost carriers in. And that will be huge for all of us. I think you'd agree. The CEO of CVG, John Mock, he's really trying to fix this airport. They're not the problem. He's trying to talk to local businesses and saying, you need to get some skin in the game to help this airport out. But they're also worried about all the risks involved. And some critics of Cincinnati say that there's just not enough demand in our city to support a good and efficient airport. And I just can't believe that. It's just not the case, honestly. Everyone I've talked to here earlier, everybody has said they've either driven to Dayton, Louisville, and we want to send a message to local businesses, airlines, everybody. We are here, we want to travel, and we need competitive pricing. So I recently started a blog with my sisters. It's called jauntingwiththecurssisters.com, and it's just for fun. But we were talking about this, and we decided we need to set up a forum for Cincinnati travelers to say we have a voice. And basically, I've set up on the website a survey I need you all to go and fill out and just write down your travel habits, what you do. And when we do this, if you see it's under Cincinnati right there, and then there's that logo up there, you can go and go to the survey. And I promise we won't spam you. We're not going to do anything like that. We're not going to send any mass emails. So we're going to take this information and we're going to present it to the authorities and let them know that we are here and we want to travel, and this is really important to us, and we're really sick and tired of putting up this for a really long time. So basically, I'm going to take it to church and say, I'm tired of this. I want the airport to change. And, some people may shout from the rooftops eventually, maybe 5 years from now, that our airport doesn't suck anymore. And I hope you all will help me in this endeavor. Go on my website. Please do this. I urge you to tell everybody you know about it so we can start changing the airport for ourselves and not wait for somebody else to do it for us. So, thank you. This is my first time. Thank you.
All right, let's hear it for Jenny. First time public speaking. Nervous as hell. Nailed it anyway. All right, Adam, who tried to jump the gun before, you're on. Screenwriter. Oh, yeah. Cool slides coming up. I won't spoil it for you.
This is pretty much for anybody who feels stuck in their life, as so many of us really have and do. As a kid, I had a problem with lying. My frame of reference was Star Wars and Back to the Future and Indiana Jones, and I felt like I was boring, so I would make up details that were, in a word, false to make it seem more interesting. One of the best ones I ever did. Between middle school and high school, I changed school districts, and I took this opportunity to tell a kid that I had moved here from Seattle when I was in Pearl Jam. This is why it's funny. It's going to change, and this is what I looked like at 14, and I don't play a musical instrument. This was a bad idea, and I spent 4 years trying to just deny it to anyone who asked. Really hope none of them are here tonight or watching online. Might have been a mistake, but I wanted an interesting life. I wanted to make movies and tell stories, and Los Angeles felt like it was the moon. How do you go to Los Angeles? And so I would make up stories about my life, and that's called lying. And plus people always tell you, if you can avoid show business, do so. Make your plan B your plan A, and be a happier person. So I joined the Army, which was a bad idea. And I I worked in politics, which was also bad. I did everything I could. Now, I am a nerd. And let's cut to 3.5 years ago. I am working third shift at DHL in data entry, listening to podcast upon podcast, and living in my one-bedroom apartment with my dog, who then dies. Right. Thanks for laughing. 16 years old. Her name was Lizzie. I loved her. Dogs can't perceive two-dimensional objects. They can't watch TV. I would get home in the morning. She would, that's her 17 points that you can find her head. She would, anyway, she wouldn't watch TV. She would wander. But if I was watching Friday Night Lights, she would jump up, or I would put her next to me. She would put her head on my leg, and she would watch it with me. And she dies. And damn straight. So following weekend, I'm watching Friday Night Lights for the first time alone. I'm feeling that absence, and I think, if I'm doing this at 31, I'm going to blow my brains out. Too soon? But I don't want to blow my brains out. I'm not a suicidal guy. I'm Adam Stovall. I kick ass. So I decide, F Cincinnati, I'm getting the hell out. Los Angeles ain't that far away. Took some time off work, took a trip, and guess what? I love Los Angeles. It's magic. They don't care about anything. And you can, like, make movies, and they can do whatever. So I came back here from my trip, and I said, I'm moving. And I didn't have a plan to move. I didn't have a job, but I did it by saying I would. And I get out there. Actually, this is really funny. When I got there, when I moved, when the movers got my stuff, I didn't have an address to give them. So I said, get there, call me, I'll have it then. So I get to Los Angeles, and it's magical. Now, like I said, podcasts. My favorite one was the Creative Screenwriting Podcast, where they do Q&As. They show a movie, and then they host the screenwriter, filmmakers. I love this thing. And so when I got there, I emailed the guy and said, can I help out? I did that for 8 months, and then I got to write an article for the magazine. And they liked it. I know, right? I've been reading this damn thing for like a decade, and I get to be a writer. The second movie I covered was The Hurt Locker. Hell yeah! So I did that. And then another article led to a PR firm that said, can you write web copy? I can't write web copy. I don't even know what it is. But I said yes, which was a lie. And they liked it. So I got paid. And then they had me write an acceptance speech. And they're like, can you do that? Hell yeah! Which was a lie. But they liked it, and I wrote some more. And I wrote one for Morgan damn Freeman, people. Morgan Freeman has written a speech that I wrote. Beyond this, I've written for Backstage Magazine now. I continue to write for creative screenwriting. I've gotten to meet so many of my heroes. They say, don't do that. Don't meet your heroes. But I've interviewed Lars von Trier, and I've interviewed Wes Anderson, and they were wonderful people. And I met Edgar Wright. One of my closest friends, her favorite movie last year was Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. And I was at a party, and I got her DVD signed by everybody that worked on the movie, which was a nice picture. And I met Quentin damn Tarantino. This was an awesome moment. This was one of those time travel things where I reached back through time. Hey, 15-year-old Adam, we had sex with a girl, and then Quentin Tarantino. Up top, buddy. But let me tell you this. I believed in myself. I had faith in myself. And I stand here at 32 years old, and I'm a writer, and that's the truth. Believe in yourselves, people. Lie, it might be the truth.
And that, my friends, is why geeks rule the world. Bet you never thought in high school 20 years ago you were going to end up on top, did you? He's going to stay because we're going to do something weird. You know the internet karaoke stuff, right? Well, Chris has a fiendish plan, which I'll let him explain.
Yeah, I'm back. Remember that bullshit from earlier? Sorry about that. So now, here's what we're going to do. They want to see me. They want to see you, sir. Adam, no, they do. Trust me, they do. Thank you. I have a spot in my sleeve. It's all good. Okay, so Ignite this is what we're going to call a karaoke orgy. So we're going to pick 5 of you from the crowd to come up here and do the bullshit that I had to do earlier with Nerf people and the asshole of the universe. Do you remember that shit? So, hey, Joe, can you bring those T-shirts up here? Oh, Mr. Wilbrand. Oh, how are you? So first, I'm going to allow anyone in the crowd that thinks they can do it to raise your hand. 1. Okay, that person can come up here because that was a first hand in the crowd. Get your ass up here. And we're giving away free swag to those people who come up here. Hurry! God damn, you are slow. Jesus! Run! Seriously! That's 1. There was a gentleman that threw something at me at Twitter or on Twitter earlier. Where is he at? John, bring it, son. Come on, son. All right, so there's 2. I need 3 more. My man, what's your name? What? Rob. Rob? Don? What the fuck? Come on. I know, 3 letters. Come on, let's get up here. It's 3 letters. Whatever his name is, it's 3 letters. Wait a minute, I got 2 people for the price of 1. Do I have a Rod and a Don? Rob. It is Rob. And Don. Holy crap. Well, since I sucked so miserably earlier, no, everybody get in the middle of the stage. John, you're not in the light. I would like you to get in the light. Put your shirts on. Adam, what? No shirt? I only... Okay, so, guy with the deck, here's what we're going to do. Hey, audience, which side should we start on by applause? Or... Oh my God. One more time. Just step it up. Seriously. Put your game face on. You got it? You want to say anything to the camera?
No, I'm good.
It's kind of what we figured. Don or Rob or whatever your 3-letter name is. Slide guy, we ready to do this? As soon as it hits, you get to go, and the slide changes, and then you get to go. And then we're going to keep going. Yes, sing if you want to. Hell yeah, sing. Sing. Sing a song. Please, somebody sing a song. Come on. Every slide that changes, I'm going to come to you with a microphone, so be prepared. So, ignite Boulder. Yeah, take notes, son. That's how we do in Cincinnati. Ready? John, here we go. No, I'm going to bring the mic. I have a mic. Don, Rob, whatever your name is, come on. Just move down a little. It's 4 letters? Doug. His name is Doug. Are you kidding me right now? Go!
We are going to talk with you how not to change the world. And the first thing you need to know about not changing the world, you don't wear 1,000 daisies, okay? That will not change the world.
Tell me what you want, what you really, really want. I'll tell you what I want, what I really, really want. I wanna really, really, really want to dig a dig.
I really wanted the sex robot for the 2 kids. So I guess there's music in the soul of every creature, even flies. So next time you squash a bug, remember that you just killed Kurt Cobain.
And if you did that, you would feel really, really bad.
just like this guy. Man, I expect the unexpected. Like killing Kurt Cobain? That would be bad.
Are you fucking kidding me? I've got a horrible credit rating, so I don't even know what to say. Oh, great.
You're fired, Doug. I'm kidding. I was just that bad. Go!
And if you don't know how to use computers, we are going to tell you everything you need to know. In fact, the first thing you need is RAM.
Josie's on a vacation far away. Come around and talk it over. There's so many things that I want to say. You know I like my guys a little bit older.
I cannot fucking follow that. How do you know if somebody is male or female? Everybody drop your pants right now. Every single one. You first. You second. You first.
And if everyone does that, this is what is going... Oh. See, yeah. So this is exactly what happened at my last dinner date. I don't know how everyone else's dating lives are going.
Wow. Look at that. Look at that. Wow.
And math. Barbies, dissected, nudity, and math. Those are the 4 things that you need to get wherever you want to go. Get it.
Don't stop believing. Hold on to that feeling. Street lights, people.
I would totally have sex with like most of the people in this room. You guys? But they would not, because make the right decision. Don't have sex with strangers unless they're paying really well.
All right, and from this graph, you can be able to tell which of those people are paying really, really well and which aren't. And that will actually determine your battery usage for your laptop for those types of activities.
PETA be damned. Oh, puppy make good eating. It's a cultural thing.
Thank you. You've been a lovely crowd.
One more time. Well done for the first karaoke orgy that we've ever done. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give it back to Joe Pantusa. Thank you for making Ignite number 5 the biggest and best so far. Give yourselves a round of applause.
And that, my friends, is Ignite Cincinnati. I hope you had a good time. Now, we're not going home for another hour. Some of you are going to leave. You got families, I know. But we're going to hang around for another hour and talk. I am looking for volunteers for the next Ignite Cincinnati. I need an event coordinator. I need a speaker wrangler. I need a production manager. If you feel like you want to be part of Ignite, I want you to volunteer. I want you to talk at the next Ignite. Thank you for coming.